Darell, first of all, just want to ask you about your first 5 games. I know we're kind of halfway through the bit that managers set as where they look at, but from what you've seen of your first 5 games, what have you made of your team and how things are coming together?
It's been a mixed bag, relatively pleased, some good performances, not obviously an awful performance down Exeter, but other than that we've been in all the games, so relatively pleased, but we need to continue and keep driving that forward.
A lot of the time year managers talk about consistency. Just give us an insight as to when you're up in a different league, how hard that is to achieve.
It is, but consistency of your own performance, I think, is key. And sometimes results, we are in a results business, but it can also reflect the other way that you can be playing very consistent but lose football games. So performance is the key indicator of making sure that performances keep on improving as the season unfolds, and when we do have that little bit of a dip or bad game or a few bad games, that we reset ourselves and we go again. So to get that consistency takes a lot of work on the training pitch and getting cohesion and players being able to get better links. I don't know why people think it's any different. Actually, footballers tend to play better when they play more games with each other, more training sessions, the more understanding they have of each and other's roles, the more camaraderie, the more banter, the more they sort of getting on. And then we come together as one, and that's the consistency sort of flow we want at this football club that we've tried to continue for 20 months, albeit with a lot of changes, isn't there? I mean, I think what was it, 3 players that was here when I first came in the doors. I think there's only 3 left, isn't there? So there's been a lot of changes in 20 months, but all for the right reasons and all for trying to move us forward.
You've kind of taken the words out of my mouth. What I was going to ask you next about building teams, and you've been in charge for that length of time now. You're in a new league now. Do you enjoy building a team and seeing all that come together? I
enjoy every part of my job. I enjoy. I love coming into work, and like you say, the thing for me is to build to try and be successful. I get more frustrated if we're not doing that, and I don't mean like big steps. Sometimes it has to be small steps. It has to be working our way forward in a logical, financial, positive way, if that makes sense. So we have to keep working, and that's the importance for me of building the backroom team in the summer a little bit bigger and better, to make sure that the players are getting the best coaching, the best possible facilities we can give them, and the best preparation that we can possibly give them, to give us that platform to try and keep consistently moving forward.
How near are you now compared to where you want to be at this level in this league?
Oh, miles away. And I think it's too early to judge, to be honest with you. We're 5 games in, new players coming into the squad, players getting the match fitness level, so there's still a lot of unanswered questions of what it's going to be. There's still players need to show me and to perform to the levels that can show me they can do very well at this level, and that has to come over a period of time, not just 5 games, and then we'll see how the flow of that goes.
I just wanted to ask you about Gavin Massey, who's had a lot of really impactful performances off the bench. How carefully have you had to manage him? Because the way he's played, a lot of people would perhaps expect him to have started.
Yeah, and I get that, and I get the supporters' point of view, because he comes on, but I suppose it's just a case of me trusting me, to be honest with you. It's a bit of trust in the manager that knows, and the medical team of where we're at with Gavin Massey, and it's not me being facetious, because I always want the best players on the pitch at the best time, and Gav's certainly a player at this level that knows it well, but I also don't want Gavin breaking down because we're chucking him in too early, too soon. So there's a lot of work goes in the background on looking at that and making sure that we are better in our injury situation, and if that means managing players like Gavin at the right time, I'll continue to do that, but I certainly don't do it to be facetious or want to be clever in any aspect. It's just that he'll start games when I think he's ready to start them.
Do you feel now, perhaps with the exception of the front line, you've got that competition and the consistency you want elsewhere?
Yeah, but we're still looking. I'd like to, still bring 2 or 3 in before the window shuts. That's for sure. So, and certainly, obviously, the top end of the pitch as well to strengthen and give us more options. So there's a bit of work to be done, but hopefully we'll get that done before the window shuts.
Is it true what they say, though, that trying to find a centre forward is sometimes the most difficult thing to find?
Well, for me, centre forwards is what your centre forwards want to look like as a balance, as a pairing. Because a lot of the time we do play 2, so you can't have any one thing the same thing. We've got Harrison, Proctor, physical presence, And then we've got Wilson, obviously, hopefully coming back early September. And then all of a sudden, I think we need someone that stretches the game, stretches the line, a pacey centre forward, and another option, another clinical option if we can. And I always look at it, assess it for a season. Can my strike force get 40 goals? And I'm really not bothered if it's 10 each. I have no it's 40 goals, isn't it? Everybody wants 20-man goal scorers, but you very rarely get two 20-man goal scorers in your team. So your forward attacking thinking players, your centre forwards, if we can get 40 out of them, you're moving in the right direction.
Lastly, another big crowd expected on Saturday. Players have got to relish that, haven't they, playing in front of that type
Yeah,
of
crowd? They do. The boys give everything for the shirt, and like I said, it's up to them to get better now and keep getting better and improve the performances. I don't think there's been many games when my team's gone out there and not give their all for the football club, and I think that's why they're getting the recognition from the supporters that are following in numbers and getting behind the boys, because they want to fight for the shirt, and tomorrow's another big occasion against a real good Portsmouth team.
Cheers, thank you.
Thank you.
That'll obviously say Portsmouth, and certainly their recruitment looks to have been really top drawer at the moment, despite the fact they didn't quite make it last season. He's added to what was a good squad last season, hasn't he?
It's a big club, yeah. Danny's a fantastic manager, done very well in the game. I've come up against Danny when he's a non-league manager, so attention to detail is very good, a bit like myself, hopefully same. And Portsmouth's a big football club that used to be in the Premier League, so with a real good, passionate fan base.
Free scoring as well, but they don't appear to have what you and I would talk maybe a striker, a number 9 in that vein. They get a lot of movements in that way. Does that cause a problem, Darell?
Well, they're dangerous. They're dangerous in get a lot of crosses in the box, and very, very dangerous at the top of the table at the minute of expected goals from set pieces. So obviously do a lot of work on set pieces. So we're gonna have to defend right, defend them well, and defend in generally good all game. We scored, like you said, they scored a few goals from all different players, different positions. So we have to be on our game, but we also know that we can be a very good attacking threat ourselves, and we'll make sure we try and cause them one or two problems.
You always work on the aspects. Are you happy the way things are turning out after the first 5 games in areas of the pitch that you thought you might need to just add to?
I think time will tell over a period of time. I think 5 games is pretty early. All I can say is I'm relatively happy to be on 7 points after the late start, the late bit of recruitment, and to be on 7 points after 5 games, I'm not too disappointed. Certainly we've only really one very, very, very disappointing performance against Exeter that we've put to bed straight away.
Using the rotation system all the while, in many ways, Darell, is it something that you would like to say it's starting 11 consistently, 11?
It will be.
Or is it hard to get to that point at the moment?
Yes, it is very hard at the minute, but I like to get to that point, if that makes sense. And what becomes of that is decisions are made not always on a performance-based indicator, like I was saying to Phil there. It's made on decisions of overload and players not breaking down. I've never ever tried to be clever. I look at every game as a project. That's how I manage. I like to adapt to the next game, the strengths and the weaknesses. Some people don't like that. Some people don't mind it, but I've done that consistently as a manager for the course of my career, and that's the way I look at it each game as it comes.
But everybody appears, and we speaking to Tom just a moment or so ago, everybody appears to be on the same waveband in many ways, Darell, and they're all happy to, and you've explained to them, not everybody's going to start because they can't.
No, and I love my players, but I'm pretty black and white, to be honest, when it comes to that. If they're not on board, they're gone anyway. Players don't rule changing rooms, managers rule changing rooms, and my boys, I respect them, I love them to bits, but they also know the way that I work. I also give them the opportunity, if they don't like the way I work, they can go, it's not a problem, I'll rip up the contract, and if they're worth any money, I'll sell them. It's not a problem, George, it's the way of the world, but we have massive, like I said, we've got a great set of boys that understand the way I work, they understand the club works. Do I want them frustrated when they're not playing? Too right, I do, but I want to channel that in the right area, and I'll always explain. Some managers pick the team, they don't even explain why players are changing, and I'm certainly not one of those managers that don't explain to every player of why they're not playing in this particular game. It might be a tactical reason, it might be an overload reason, it might be a performance-based reason, but they'll always know the facts on it. And I think when you have that truth and honesty, players respect that and want to be part of it.
It's good to have that individual relationship though, Darell, isn't it, with players, and that you can actually sit down with them.
Yeah, it is. But that's man management, isn't it? That's people. You've got to, footballers are human beings, so they like to know what I'm thinking and what we're thinking, and I'll always be straight down the line honest, even if they don't like what I've got to say, and that's for me has always been a policy I've tried to stick with.